way to bust butt in order to make the album a killer along the lines of the last one?
I think as far as the songwriting is concerned, we tried to really hone in on getting the best songs that we possibly could for this record. But as far as radio is concerned, we've always been oblivious to that. We are not purveyors of radio. We haven't been on the radio, with every album. We've got, 12 records out, and maybe 4 of them have been on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, which
I don't know. We don't like to adhere to radio. We like to bring radio to us. So if they say that, I think that's great. If they think so, that's fine with me. But at the same time, we make music for ourselves. And, hopefully somebody will like it. And occasionally people do. So we've made a living at doing that. Exactly that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, though. You guys have sort of consistently adhered to your own basics for the last, what are we talking about, 13 years, is it now?
For the last
13, 14?
Well, recording-wise, 13 years,
yeah.
And we've been together for about 17 years.
Yeah, well,
but I would say that we, have pretty much kept to our guns on this record too, and it's kind of hard to come up with a flame all the time or something like that. And we're just not like that. I mean, The Flame is not a song that was written by us, but I wish it was.
Why do you think that?
You know what I mean?
Why do you think radio just comes out of nowhere and all of a sudden picks up on you guys? Because it wasn't as if The Flame was some radical departure from what you've been doing thus far.
I think it was just because the song was that good, and it was more palatable to them than some of our other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but that's the way it is.
There was a time...
Go ahead.
Oh, there was a time during the 80s when we almost expected you guys to fall off the edge of the planet because, although you were...
We did fall off. We went to another planet. We fell down to some other planet, and, in 1980, we lost the bass player in our band to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And... and we carried on, that was a traumatic time for us because we were thinking, well, what the hell should we do? Instead, we became a 3-piece band. We put out a 3-piece band album called One on One. And actually, the bass player did play on one track, and that was the beginning of his career. And then he left, 3 years ago, and Tom came back to the group. So thank God he did, because now it's almost like being a new band again. But we've carried on and made these records, consistently. And my lifestyle is not that I need that much money to maintain, what I do. But this is what I do for a living. This is what I love to do. And I hope it shows in our music, because that's the way it should be.
It seemed like for a while there was sort of a conspicuous lack of chart success that probably risked the life of the band there. I mean, were you guys ever in danger of splitting up there in the 80s?
Financially, I would say you're correct.
Yeah.
I mean, financially, we went broke big time and went in the hole and owed everybody a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
But we all had faith in ourselves that it would come around again, and it certainly did. So, it's good to be back in black. I mean, back in blue. Back in
or whatever the album title is. That could be one reason why you would want to sustain the #1 momentum of the last album, though. I mean, obviously that must be a consideration.
I think everyone wants to sustain a #1 situation, but I think that's pretty unrealistic to think that you could plan that out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who in this music business can dictate that just because you had a #1 song on one record, the next one's going to have the same? I mean, you can write songs and people can say, in what direction do you go? I mean, how can you how can you sort of plan that out? I don't understand how. We just made a record that we thought was really good, and the record company seems to think that there's 4 or 5 or 6 hit singles on it. I wish there were 11 hit singles on it. I thought there were on our first record.
Mm-hmm. Right. But obviously something doesn't click there, I guess, with current radio, and this stuff is just never played. At least that's been the case in the past. I suppose.
I guess I'm not always a big fan of current radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To to me, I think radio's kind of their walls are closing in on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd rather see radio a little more diverse.
Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose there's always room for purveyors of pop such as yourself. But
well, I hope so.
yeah.
I hope so, because that's what we like pop, and we like rock music, and we like we're a pretty diverse band. We even have an R&B song on this record, which is our first single that was written by Rick and myself. So I mean, figure that out. I don't know. We've never had an R&B song on the records ever, really.
There's been a sort of a handful of veteran bands such as Heart and Aerosmith and Alice Cooper sort of busting back into the limelight now. Do you think you share anything in common with their renewed success, or do you sort of
no, none of us have been to the dry out clinics throughout America. We've, clean living and perseverance.
Right, exactly. Well, the thing is, I mean, that was never ever a problem with you guys, even when you were sort of on the skids there. Nobody ever kind of...
No, we never gave it up. That's all.
Does that come from the clean upbringing of the Midwest there?
No, I would say that we just never gave up booze and drugs and shit like that. We just kept going. So
you guys never changed.
No.
Yeah. But a lot of these other guys have sort of tapped into the high-powered producers and high-powered songwriters, whereas you guys...
No, we like to pick up the guys that are on the edge.
And
Richie Zito, he was not a high-powered producer until our record started to break, and then he started getting notoriety, as far as Eddie Money and Heart are concerned. And, we like guys that are talented. That's the most important thing. A high-power producer just gets overpaid and overrated anyway.
Yeah, Rick was saying that you guys are fully capable of producing yourselves anyway.
Hell yes. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. After being in this business for a long time, it's no brag, just fact, It's like you learn how to do it. You learn what to do, and you learn what you need. The best part about Richie Zito is he's a musician, he's a great sounding board, and he's a good friend, And he knows how to make decent sounding records. Now, whether we know how to do that or not, it's just a good idea to have a fifth voice in there to stop us from tearing each other apart.
Rick was also saying it sort of lightens your load there. It makes things a little easier.
It sure does, because it cuts into our party time to have to mix it and all that crap.
Have you ever been tempted just to kind of say, screw the producer, we're going to do it ourselves?
Yeah, that has been suggested on just about every record we've done.
Why has it never materialized?
Oh, I don't know, because the powers that be, I guess, the record company and management and everybody talks us out of it, I'd say.
What sort of producers have you axed? I mean, I'm sure the record company has come up with a list of people they think should produce you, but you guys have said, no, not that guy.
We only axe the big ones, the best ones, the ones the high-powered, overrated, overpaid ones.
Because you just don't want to deal with that crap.
Well, we asked a couple of them, too, and they sort of said, well, Cheap Trick, I don't know, like Mud Lang. And, I don't know, we didn't formally ask anybody. We sort of just, we test the waters, and if anybody's interested, fine. If nobody's interested, we'll just do it ourselves. Fortunately, some people are interested, and we've had some fine producers over the years. I mean, Jack Douglas, who did all Aerosmith's records back in the old heyday, and George Martin, who did the Beatley Brothers.
The Beatley Brothers, yes.
And, Roy Thomas Baker, who did Queen and the Cars, and Tom Werman, who's got the Midas touch, no matter how bad the band might be. These type of producers are good friends of ours. We've known these guys, and they like our band. That's the reason we work with them. If somebody doesn't like our band, and we don't really know them that well or know what they've done, it's really hard to get a rapport going when they're there on their lunch break, trying to produce our record.
I guess one thing about Cheap Trick is that no matter how poorly the record sells, it's always popular in critical circles, and you always seem to have the respect of your contemporaries. I mean, other musicians and whatnot. I guess
that's because we pour all our profits into underhanded payola.
I suppose though that rather than catering to radio, I guess that kind of a reputation among your among people in the industry